So, dear delegates, welcome on board for the orientation program of Certified Financial Reporting Specialist. One of the very, specialized area of finance and accounts. The reporting is very, very important. It's related with the compliance. So, every organization should be very, very careful about this type of issues. So, let me share my screen. I'll just take around 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, not more than that, for introducing the organization first. So where you are and the course administration as well. And after that, our trainer who will be taking all the sessions for this program, he will be introducing or discussing about the course insights, how will be benefited from this course, and what are the items will be discussed during this course classes. So, all right, this is World Academy. World Academy for Research and Development is an UK-based organization. Our web address is worldacademy.uk. Our motto is shaping expertise, nurturing ambitions, and elevate your potential. So, World Academy is always beside the professionals for accelerating their global career. We are a certified organization. We have a couple of ISO certification like 1724, 4180, 21001, 30414. So all are related with the education management, quality management, and the learning and management system. So these are the details about this ISO certification. We have global affiliation with different organizations in different countries. Right now, our presence is in 61 countries, and the number is counting, and our target is to become 100 in 2025. We are the member of American Accreditation Association. It's a very prestigious accreditation association in the US, approved center by Cambridge Academy of Professional, which is an UK-based professional institute. So this course, CFRS, is being also validated by Cambridge Academy of Professionals UK. But they approved center by Prof Qual UK and approved center by Prof HR Certification UK, approved provider of HR CIS HRM USA and ATD USA. So these are the basically the Prof Qual is the higher education provider institute in UK, and BHRC, Board of HR Certification, is an UK-based HR certification organization. At the same time, HR, CIS, HRM, and ATD, all three are HR-related certification awarding body in US. And we have a very prestigious recognition from SHRM, the pioneer of HR certification awarding bodies in the world. They give us the recognition as academically aligned institute. And we are the accredited institute by International Professional Accreditation Council, which is a Singapore-based organization. We are member for CPT Group, which is a UK-based CPT provider, and partner of Singapore Training and Development Association, and partner of Institute of KPA Specialist, and also Academy of Business English and Communication. So these are our global affiliation for World Academy. This course, Certified Financial Reporting Specialist, this is basically a credential, not the course actually. It's a credential. The difference between course and credential is you can write the credential name or title beside your name, but the course usually we do not use. So after successful completion of this credential, you can write the title like CFRS beside your name. So that is the difference between the credential and the course. And this is a credential validated by Cambridge Academy of Professionals, which is an UK-based professional academy or professional organization. And also, one of the added advantage for our courses that you will receive a digital badge from Credly. Credly is one of the renowned and prestigious and the largest, of course, digital badge issue organization in the world. And this is part of Pearson Education Group. That is the sample certificate you will be receiving after successful completion. So the certificate contains the global affiliation part as well, and also the issued by Cambridge Academy and World Academy jointly. And you see that the title Certified Financial Reporting Specialist. This is the certified credential. We have completed 2 batches, and this is the 3rd batch we're going to start. And altogether, as we have also self-paced version, so altogether 90 plus professionals have completed this course from 11 plus countries. So that is the so far the success story for CFRS. There will be 10 sessions, 10 practical focus sessions. 4 months usually time we are taking, 4 months duration. So all weeks are not the classes, but the class will be only on Friday. Class will be only on Friday, and the class time is 2 to 4 p.m. GMT timing. So, I mean, total 4 months having 16 weeks, but the class will be on 10 weeks. The other weeks will be for your preparations, for exam preparations, assignment preparation, etc. Online exam, you can attend the exam online, and synopsis class recording will be provided. So the class recording will be twisted, will be edited, and then a synopsis video will be provided for you. And then free books and materials, you will get some couple of books and materials free at cost. Live interaction, you can do live interaction through the learning management system, and live chat support through our web chat support. So what is the credential for us? Why you need to choose us? Job-oriented learning. All the learnings are job-oriented, job-focused. Focus on competency framework. We have a very good competency mapping for this course, and based on those competencies, this course is being conducted. Extensive practice during the course, so you will get practices how to apply this during the classes. Simulation exercises you do, equipped with tools and formats. You will be provided some tools and formats for this course, and there will be online live session. That is a very interesting part. You will be having a live feature or live flavor, but you do not need to visit the classroom. So your home is your classroom, your PC is your classroom. And then the global resource, Mr. Param Krishna from Malaysia. So he will be taking all the sessions. Class management, there will be total 10 modules, 10 sessions. So each module having one session, and one session per week. That means every Friday, per session is 2 hours. And during this 2 hours period, at least half an hour will be for the different activities. So he will be, assigning some cases or activities. So, and after that, he will be discussing in the class as well. These are the modules, 10 modules. So Param will be discussing all these modules. Just I'm going through the module name. You can see fundamental concept, which is IAS 1, fundamental concepts. Cash flow statement, which is IAS 7. Inventory and property, plant and equipment, IAS 2 and 16. Borrowing costs, which is 23, government grant, which is 20, and investment properties, which is 40. Then impairment of assets, 36, assets held for sales and discontinued operation, which is 5, and intangible asset, which is 38, revenue, which is 15, and lease, which is 16, accounting policy, change in accounting estimates and errors, which is 8, events after the reporting period is 10, provisioning, contingent assets and contingent liability, which is 37, income tax 12 and 33, EPS 33, and financial instrument, which is 9, and consolidation, which is 3 and 10. So you can see there are around 15, 16 standards will be discussed. Not necessary that all the standards will be discussed in detail in the class, but there will be a guideline how to learn about it, how to apply it. And of course, as there is a single trainer, so you will have every chance to come to the next class with a couple of questions if you have. Okay, so that is our module standards, our module. So you can understand how depth the course is. All right. And then how can we administer the assessment part? The class notifications will be sharing with you through the WhatsApp group. Review and question answer session will be there. Class may be postponed, but rescheduled on the other weeks, not on other day. So that we can maintain. And sequentially, we will try to maintain it. All materials will be shared only through the learning management system, and attendance will be recorded during the session. So all are requested to use your full name so system can detect the attendance. And exam will be MCQ based exam, multiple choice question based exam. You can also attend free at cost the makeup exam as well. So 2 exams you will get. First, the scheduled exam. If in any case you missed it or cannot qualify, then you can attend the makeup exam. That is also free at cost. But if you need to attend third onwards exam, as many times as required you can attend. But for every time you need to be $15 as exam fee. There will be one final exam, 50 multiple choice questions total. For the exam, 100 marks and 60 minutes time. And passing marks is 70%. There will be total 5 assignments, pre-course assignment, module-wise 3 assignments. For all these 10 modules, we have split it into 3 parts. So every part will have 1 assignment. So you need to submit the assignment and then the capstone project as well. One final capstone project, which is the final assignment covering all these 10 modules. So the total modular assessment 3 unit, 100 for each, total 300, capstone project 300, and final exam MCQ type, which is 100 marks. And you need to pass separately. For the certification, electronic certificate will be issued 10 days, within 10 days after grades are published. And that digital badge will be receiving within 10 days. At the same time, actually, printed certificate, we will issue actually 4 times in a year. So once you complete it, your printed certificate will be disbursed within the first available slot. We usually issue January, April, then September and January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So these are the 4 times we are sending the certificates across the globe. After successful completion, grades are published. After that, immediately first slot will be available for you to send the certificates. So we are expecting from your feedbacks. During the sessions, even you can give some feedbacks for improvement. We can communicate with the trainer as well. And of course, after the session, you can also give the feedback for the followers, the other peoples, those who are interested for the next batches or the self-paced version. So that's about this part, and this is the synopsis of the phases. First phase is pre-course assignment. After this class, tomorrow, you will receive a pre-course assignment. You need to submit this assignment before the first session will be conducted. And the phase 2, attend regular classes and submit modular assignment. Phase 3, final assignment and final exam. Phase 4, the badge and electronic certificate, and then the printed certificate. So these are the 4-phase administration for this credential. You can call us through email, through learning management system, and through WhatsApp as well. We are very much available. We are trying to maintain 24/7. So that's it. Thank you very much for your patience listening to me. If there is any question so far from your end. No.
Mr.
Yes, please.
Rupak, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, team
Good
World
afternoon.
Academy.
Good afternoon.
For me, there isn't a question as such, but as a student, I would like to thank you for the opportunity. And so far, the service that I've received from World Academy is really good, especially the WhatsApp communication. You're one of your admin staff. You even called me a few minutes back to say if I'm all okay, if I'm connected online. So far, the service is looking very great, sir. And we are looking forward to have Mr. Parameshwaran Krishnan as our lecturer, as our guide on this program. And I'm looking forward to learn a lot from Mr. Parameshwaran. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Dana. From which country you are?
I am from India, but I am living in Botswana, the southern African side. I'm from South India. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your feedback. That's our pleasure to serve our communities as much as possible. Thanks once again for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Param sir, could you please start your presentation?
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Rupak. Let me share my screen. Can you all hear me in the first place? A very good evening to you.
Yeah, and I can see your.
All right. And can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. Great. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Rupak, for the intro. My name is Parameswaran. I like the way Miss Dana pronounced my name. Quite interesting, but that's the right pronunciation. Okay, you can call me Param. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cover this program called Certified Financial Reporting Specialist, yeah, which is one of the key programs for you, especially if you want to report on the financial statements. Let me look at I'll just give you a brief introduction of my credentials. I'm actually a consultant trainer, having worked quite a number of years, more than 25 years. I'm a business professional from a local university in Malaysia. I'm a member of the Malaysian Institute of Accountants. I have more than 30 years of experience, basically hands-on training, conducting interactive sessions. I've done training for a lot of companies in Malaysia, including the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, both in IT and finance. Okay, so I have provided in-house training and external training, that means which is conducted by third-party organizations like the World Academy in Malaysia. My focus areas are supply chain management, finance accounting, project management, change management, okay, service management, which are IT related. My career history stems from primarily working. I was born and bred in Malaysia, so I worked in Malaysia, but I've been posted to other countries like Singapore, Indonesia. I worked in companies like Franklin Porcelain, KPMG Pete Mawick. I'm sure you know who they are. Philip Morris, who are tobacco manufacturer, Compact Malaysia, which has now become HP Malaysia, and I worked for Reuters in Singapore. So this basically my experience. Yeah. So let me explain to you some of the learning objectives. Now, one thing that I want to say upfront to all of you is after my discussion with Mr. Ropak, yeah, of World Academy, we wanted to focus on engaging the participants so that when we engage with the participants, we realize that we can sort of find an appreciation of actually whether you understand the content that has been discussed. So sometimes it's easy for me because I understand the content and for me to just speak out loud and for you to just sit down and listen. But the most important thing is you must be able to comprehend what I'm actually saying. So what we're going to do this is, apart from the theory that needs to be covered within a particular module or a particular program itself, we will punctuate those theories with actual practical examples so that you can understand it better, how to apply it. The application of it is very critical. Understanding the theory is one aspect of it. No doubt you need to understand the theory behind the subject matter. But nonetheless, you need to know, how do I now apply this to my work uh, that I'm exposed to? For example, if you're functioning as a financial accountant or a management accountant, how do I apply what I've learned? So we're going to pay some critical emphasis on that aspect of it. So having said that, let me move on. I will touch on it again subsequently. Okay, what is the, let me minimize this, yeah. What is the learning objective of this program here, yeah? Basically, you will understand the fundamental concepts of accounting, which we will go through things like accrual, matching, revenue recognition, okay? So we will look at the principles of financial reporting and the role of the International Accounting Standards, or IAS, which is now called IFRS, okay? We will go through that. And these differences and details are covered in each of the modules, okay? So you will be able to analyze, for example, the cash flow statement in accordance with the International Accounting Standards, okay, IAS 7, for example, where you will need to identify, because when you prepare your cash flow, you need to separate.
Sir, I think your slide is not playing.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So please check.
let me share my
Yes,
slide.
sir. I just raised my hand to just alert you on the same, but I
Okay.
see my hand alert for some reason is not able to be picked up from your end.
Wait, let me see. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I see that. Okay, never mind. Let me share this again. Yeah, let me get out and share it again so that you can see the slide moving. Can you see my slide now? Yes,
We
no?
can see the page once, Param sir. We can see the first page, but the second page, third page are not going as you are going through. I can see you are on slide number 4 or 5 talking about the learning objectives, but on the shared screen, we can't see that.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me get out of this. Yeah, for us. Okay, give me a second, please. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem, sir.
Are you able to see the slide now?
Yes, sir, we can see your profile.
Okay, great. Let me move on to this. Yeah, I've covered this. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
can see, can you see it moving now?
Now it's perfect the way you're doing it. Perfect,
All
sir.
right,
Thank
all right.
you.
Great. Thank you so much for the feedback. Okay, so we understand the fundamental concepts of accounting, which will include things like accrual, going concern, matching principle, revenue recognition, and then we will also understand the role of the international accounting standards, which is the standards that are required for you to prepare these financial statements, which are now called IFRS. Okay, so you will analyze. If you face this problem again, please provide me. So now you can see the slide moving, right? Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
We
All
can
right,
see,
great,
sir.
great. Okay, so you'll analyze the cash flow statement. For example, you understand what is the cash flow statement consists of. It consists of things like operating, investing, financial activities. What do you include in there? How do you arrive at those figures? Okay, so these are the learning objectives that we're talking about. So you look at inventory valuation methods, accounting treatments for property plant, which is covered by a separate standard. Okay, so how do we handle that? How do we handle various aspects of this based on the standards that are pronounced? Because the standards are basically what is required for you to enable you to prepare the financial statements. That means you cannot prepare the financial statements, which includes the balance sheet, income statement, and the cash flow statement at your whim and fancy. But as a qualified accountant and being a member of an accounting board, you need to follow the standards. Okay, so you need to apply the principles of accounting. For example, borrowing. How do I account for borrowing cost? What is borrowing cost? It is specified in IAS 23. Okay, how do I show government grants in my balance sheet? For example, what are the conditions upon which where I recognize a government grant? What are the expenses that I can show in my P&L so that I can apply for the government grant? Okay. Then we look at things like investment properties in financial reporting. That means properties that you hold for purpose of inventing. That means you want to rent it out and you get rental income. How is that treated in the financial statement? So the various aspects uh, of reporting are actually indicated. Okay, so you assess impairment indicators. Okay, procedures for impairment testing under IAS 36. Okay, that's accounting for. Then how do you treat if I hold assets? For example, I have equipment which I want to sell. How do I treat that in my financial statement? So there are standards that are specified that will tell you how to make those treatments. Okay, so how do I recognize revenue? When do I recognize revenue? At which point do I recognize revenue? Okay, that will be outlined in the revenue recognition principles that are outlined in the IFRS 15. And how do I do lease accounting? Okay, no, lease accounting used to be very simple, but now they have been replaced by IFRS 16, which talks about operating lease and financial lease. What is an operating lease? What are the elements that constitute and make this an operating lease? And how do I show an operating lease in my financial statement? Where do I show it in my financial? Do I show it in my balance sheet? Do I show it in my income statement? These are the things that you are faced with. Okay, so as an accountant, you need to you get an understanding, okay, of the various standards that you be exposed to. Okay, now, for example, if there are changes in accounting policies, how do I account for the change? For example, I change the way I do my depreciation accounting, let's say from straight line to reducing balance from 1 year to another. What do I have to do? Okay, as an accountant, okay, how do I reflect it in my financial statement? Where do I disclose it? Do I disclose it to the notes to the account? So these are the things that you will be grappling with and have an understanding of. Okay, so of course you understand the principles of accounting for income taxes. Income taxes very peculiar. Generally, there are individual taxes, there are corporate taxes, and taxes are normally very peculiar to the country you operate in. The tax rates are different, and the treatment of certain expenses are different. So it's applicable to the country concerned. So you need to review your tax laws in relation to the way IAS 12 talks about how you treat income tax. How do I treat deferred income or deferred tax, for example? Okay, how do I calculate my earnings per share? Okay, so primarily, if you look at it, the main objective is to look at all the standards that are applicable to the preparation of financial statements starting from IAS 1. There are actually a total of 41 standards. Okay, IAS 1 to IAS 41, and some of them have been replaced by IFRS. Okay, we will talk about the difference of IAS and IFRS based on it. In one module one, actually, you will understand that difference. Let's look at in detail the agenda. So I'll give you a brief on what it covers. Here we look at the fundamental concept of accounting. What is the fundamental concept of accounting? What is meant by going concern? Okay, what is meant by a matching concept? Okay, what is meant by accrual? So you will be exposed to the concepts of accounting, and you will also be looking at IAS 1, which is actually fundamentals of the preparation of financial statement. How do I prepare financial statement? So like I said, the financial statement preparation is not done at the whim and fancy of you, but it's prescribed by standards that you need to apply to so that they become comparable. So we will look at in detail, for example, what is a cash flow statement? Okay, what is the statement of cash flow? Okay, that is actually detailed out in International Accounting Standard 7. Okay, so it tells you how do I show my cash flow statement? When do I recognize cash? When do I not recognize cash? How do I show my operating? Remember, I told you the cash flow statement is divided into operating, investing, and financing. What are the elements that go into those aspects of it? So when you look at the individual module, we will cover those details. Okay. So for example, inventory, how do I value my inventory? Do I use first in, first out? FIFO, do I in last in, first out? Is last in, first out applicable today? Okay. How do I value my property, plant, and equipment? How do I account for and show it in my balance sheet? How do I treat depreciation? So that is all explained in PPE, which is covered in IAS 16. Okay, so what I'm saying is what I've generally mentioned earlier. The focus of this program is to look at the standards that are covered, that are applicable for the preparation of financial statements. So you will be exposed to all the common standards that as an accountant you should be aware of. Okay, borrowing costs. How do I treat borrowing costs? How do I treat interest? Where do I show? How do I show the interest? How do I show the capital component of the amount that I borrow? For example, some industries get government grants. For example, government encourages those kind of industries. For example, particularly maybe digital economies. Today, the government or agriculture, for example, certain government provides agricultural grants. How do I treat that? So that is explained in IAS 20. So when we look at the module, we will actually look at the details on how this has to be handled. You'll be provided with examples and the prescription of the standard itself so that you can apply. And similarly, we will cover IAS 40, which is investment properties. I mean, properties that are held not for use in the operation of the business, but for sale. For example, you opt for rental income. From module 5, you look at impairment of assets. Okay, that means how does the asset lose its value, and how do I treat that lost in value? Okay. So assets held for sale, for example, some assets you may have a second-hand car which you don't want to use for the business anymore. How do I treat that? And when I sell it, how do I account for the sale? Okay, so these are all covered in these standards, which are very specific to the matter that is at hand. Okay, so module 6 we look at revenue recognition, and also IFRS 16. We will look at leases. Okay. Now, then we will look at accounting policies, like as I mentioned. If you change your accounting policies, you see one of the things that the reasons why standards are introduced into reporting of financial statements, so that when you become a person who's responsible for financial reporting, you need to make sure that you follow or adhere to standards. One of the reasons for the application of the standards is to allow for consistency, so that when you compare one year to the following year, there is some level of consistency. Okay, then there's also the issue of transparency, so that when you look at it, you are able to know that the way the financial transaction is reported in the financial statements are consistent and comparable. Okay, so that when you compare A and B, let's say company A and B, you know that the way they treat the items that are shown in the financial statements are in accordance with certain standards. Since they are in accordance with certain standards, you will know that you can you can arrive at whatever decisions that you want to make. That means you want to, let's say you want to decide on whether I want to invest in company A or company B. When I look at the financial statements, they are comparable. Why are they comparable? Because of the existence of this standard way of preparing financial statement. Okay, so module 8, we look at income taxes. I mentioned to you, income taxes are very specific to the country. There are certain expenses that you will look at. Income taxes will include corporate tax, individual tax. How do I calculate for my corporate tax? What is the applicable? What is my taxable income? How do I account for depreciation, for example? Okay, and arrive at a taxable income and apply the applicable tax rate in the country and calculate my taxes. Okay, so because when that's how it is shown, profit after tax. Remember, when you look at your P&L, and similarly, if you look at earnings per share, we will look at IAS 33, which will show you how to calculate the earnings per share of the company itself. Okay, so module 9, we will look at some elements of financial instrument. Although this is focused on financial institution, but we will look at things like bonds, derivatives, okay, and deposits, okay, short-term, long-term. How do I treat that? Where are they reflected appropriately? Okay, how do I treat interest cost, for example, in relation to a financial instrument? How do I treat the income that I receive from a financial instrument, for example? So the last module which we will cover is module 10, which talks about consolidation. There we will cover two standards. One is IFRS 3 and one is IFRS 10. So we'll look at business combinations. How do we do consolidation? What is the need for consolidation? When do we consolidate? Okay. When do I need to prepare a consolidated financial statement or consolidated profit and loss account? Okay. What are the conditions that may exist? What are the different types of consolidation that we're talking about? How do I treat a subsidiary? What is a subsidiary? Okay, so these are what is a holding company, for example. So we will be exposed to some of these aspects of it. So like I told you initially, the focus of this program is to prepare financial statement. That means reporting of financial statement. To enable you to prepare financial statements, you must be equipped with the knowledge of the standard for the preparation of financial statement. Okay. Now, let me just give you a quick overview of the difference between IAS and IFRS. Now, before 2011, IAS was run by International Accounting Standards Committee, IASC. Okay, so when they issue pronouncements, I mean standards, the way how you treat lease from as an operating lease or financial lease, all those standards were called IAS, International Accounting Standard. After 2011, okay, it is the same body, but it's renamed as International Accounting Standards Board. So after the International Standards Accounting Board took over from 2011, everything that they issue is called IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. That is the fundamental difference between IAS and IFRS. Okay, in terms of content, there are no difference. It's just that the body that issued the standard was slightly different. So you look at before 2011 and after 2011. Before 2011 is IAS, and sometimes the IAS gets replaced by a new IFRS because if there are additional things to be included. Okay, you'll see some of the things that you may want to understand and comprehend, so that we look at some of the, and some of you may have come across something called GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. These generally accepted accounting principles are basically a US standard. That means they are applicable to all US companies. Okay, so this is for you to just have this thought behind your head. Now, having understood what we will cover in this module, what does the Certified Financial Reporting Specialist do? Okay, let's look. Okay, essentially, a Certified Financial Reporting Specialist is a professional. Okay, most likely with an accounting qualification or an accounting qualification. Okay, he possesses the expertise in the preparation, analysis, and the presentation of finance statements in accordance with all regulatory requirements and, of course, accounting standards that we talked about just now. Okay, so this certification indicates a very high level of competency in financial reporting, compliance, and the application of accounting principles. So it is a very key and critical aspect, as Mr. Rupak had mentioned earlier. So this is basically what you do. Okay, you will have the After going through this course, and if you qualify and for this certification, you basically, if you really understand the content of the course, you will possess the expertise in how to prepare financial statement, how to analyze the financial statement, and how to present the financial statement. And what are the financial statements that we're talking about? We are talking about the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow statement. Okay. So what is your responsibility as a financial reporting specialist? Okay, like I told you, financial statement preparations, compile the financial statement, ensure compliance both for regulatory requirements and also standard requirements. That means following the standards and disclosure requirements. What are the disclosure requirements that are required? So you'll be able to understand how to actually prepare this standards. Okay, bear in mind that you need to comply to both regulatory and standards requirements. Okay, analyzing financial data. You'll do some variance analysis, for example, comparing the data from your budgeted figure and your actual figure, and say, hey, what's happening? What's the result of the reason for this variance? Okay, then you will be exposed to things like ratio analysis. What are the ratios that you will come across? You will come across liquidity ratio, you come across profitability ratio, you look at solvency ratio. So they are the different types of, and these ratios are extracted from these financial statements. So when you understand the financial statement, analysis of these financial statements become easier. Okay, so of course you have regulatory compliance. The regulatory requirements differ from country to country. So you need to explore where you're operating from and see what are the regulatory requirements. For example, there could be timing for submission of financial report. If you're a public listed company, how often should you submit? When do you submit it? Okay, so these are things that you need to look at. You need to look at how to implement the changes, and you also look at things like internal controls, that is compliance with the internal policy procedures and controls that are existing within the company itself. Okay, then there's audit coordination. Okay, you will facilitate. Sometimes the large enough companies will have internal audit department. You'll facilitate the external auditors. Okay, you look at the audit findings. Should the auditor come to you and say, hey, look, I don't understand this, can you explain that? So with the ability to understand the financial statement, you're able to explain the transaction to the auditor right up to the core of the transaction. Okay, so you can even conduct compliance audit to see whether the financial statement do comply with the regulatory requirements and are they complying with the standards that are required. Okay, and of course you will be involved in management reporting. Okay, and provide technical expertise to the internal management. Okay, you'll be preparing reports which are slightly different. Okay, you will be involved in budgeting and forecasting. Okay, so these are some of the things that that become your responsibility as a financial reporting specialist. Okay, technical proficiency. Okay, so you understand, as I explained to you, what is GAAP, IFRS, and other relevant standards. Okay, some tools you may use. Maybe you'll be exposed to some use of PC-based tools or even software that is used, for example, SAP, if you're exposed to that kind of thing. Okay, your skill set will include analytical. You need to understand, okay, if I calculate a ratio, what does that ratio mean? What does this, if I calculate, for example, the current ratio, what does the current ratio show me? What does it tell me? Okay, so what do I need to do based on the information that I derive from calculating the current ratio? Do I need to do A? Do I need to do B? Okay, so you are able to exercise some actionable items deriving from your analytical skills. Okay, and basically you need to focus on details. Yeah, so you cannot run away from this. Okay, you when you track a transaction, you need to go right to the point where it was documented. Okay, that's how that is what is meant by attention to detail. Of course, you should be able to communicate. Bear in mind that as an accountant, you have an expertise. Okay, you have financial expertise. You must be able to communicate your financial skill set in a way that a non-financial person is able to understand you. So that is why it is able to very key that you possess sufficient communication skills, both written and oral, so that you're able to tell the CEO who might not have a financial background, to tell him what this means. Okay, I'm telling you this is what this means. So that is very key to you. Okay, and you cannot run away from, of course, having regulatory knowledge. Okay, you need to keep in touch, or be what they say, be abreast with the regulatory changes that are taking place, because countries regularly change their requirements, so that you make sure that you also not only uh, uh, understand the legal requirements in which your business entity is operating in, but you are also able to ensure compliance to standards that may arise. There could be changes in standards. Okay, the way you're supposed to treat a transaction could have changed because the International Accounting Body has decided to change it, and you need to be aware of that and see, how do I then apply it to my financial statement? Do I apply it? What impacts? How does it impact consistency? How does it impact comparability, for example? And of course, you need to have ethical standards. Yeah, I mean, accountants are dealing with dollars and cents. Okay, so a lot of it is common sense. Okay, other than the CENTES, it's also SE and SE. Okay, so you must possess strong ethical standards in integrity. Okay, and of course, commitment to transparency and honesty in financial reporting. Okay. Now, what are the learning outcomes? Very quickly, I will run through this. Of course, you understand financial reporting framework. You will gain an understanding of the various standards that are in existence. You know the difference, as I've explained to you very quickly just now, difference between IFRS, generally accepted accounting principles, and other framework. You will learn some principles of financial statement preparation and presentation. You will learn how to apply the standards. Okay, so you will, having gone through the individual standards, we will focus on the core aspects of the standard itself. That means how we apply. Okay, then we look at consolidation, for example. So if I require to do consolidation, what do I do? When do I do it? Okay, so these are some of the questions that you are posed with. So these are the outcomes of from attending this program itself. Okay. Of course, you have preparation, interpretation, like I told you, prepare and analyze statement of financial position, which is the balance sheet, statement of profit and loss, which is income statement, and cash flow statement. And of course, there are some changes in equity, which you will also pick up during the course of the program itself. Understand the components of annual report, particularly public listed companies, and how important are notes to the financial statement. Notes to the financial statement part of it, it is part of the disclosure requirement. Okay. Develop skills to interpret, evaluate financial performance using key ratios. Like I mentioned, we will calculate all the different types of ratios which apply to profitability, liquidity, solvency. Okay. You will have an understanding of regulatory compliance. Okay. Understand the role of the external auditor, and of course, the external auditor's reporting obligation, and what is your role as an accountant within the business entity itself. Okay. So you will also learn corporate governance, yeah, okay, and ethics, and the role of financial reporting in decision making. Okay, so that there's some level of integrity and transparency when you do financial reporting. Okay, financial analysis and decision making. Okay, these are some of the learning outcomes, which are very self-explanatory. Okay, so emerging trends, you will understand what are the emerging trends, the standards that you look at. That means when we do this program, we actually focus on the latest financial statement. That means we are not looking at something that happened 10 years ago. All that you learn today is what is current. Okay, that is very important thing about this program itself. Okay, so sometimes you need to understand environmental, social, and government. How do you report it? What are the disclosures that you need to make? Let's say you've got CSR programs. Okay, so how do I handle it, for example? Okay, extended business is some reporting. If this is something to do with IT, which some of you may be exposed to, or when you have software that you have in your organization that is used to do your financial reporting, recording and reporting. Now, I mentioned to you earlier, one of the things that Mr. Ropak and I discussed was participant engagement. One of the key things that we notice is like I'm doing now, I'm doing most of the talking. Okay, so there's less engagement between me and the participant. So we want to improve this participation. The reason for the improvement of this participation is so that you actually go away after the 1 hour, 2 hour session with me, for example, vomiting so much of theory. Okay, so hey, what the hell did Param tell me? How do I apply it now to my circumstances? So we will our training programs are now slightly refocused and making sure that there's participant engagement. What does that participant engagement involve? For example, in this case, let's say when you're looking at this program, you look at what are the primary objectives of financial reporting standards. Why are they standards required? For example, okay, this is food for thought for you. Yeah, I'm just telling you these are some of the things that you will now encounter when you do the module. How do the international accounting reporting standards IFRS differ, let's say, from generally accepted accounting principles? What is this different? Which is more stringent? Is IFRS more stringent than the GAAP? GAAP, I told you, is applicable to all US-based companies. International financial reporting standards apply to all countries that are member countries that are more than 200 countries, okay? In fact, most countries are members of the International Accounting Standards Board, okay? Now, what are the key benefits that you're going to derive by adopting the IFRS for multinational corporations? Okay, so if you are an MNC, for example, Nestle or Colgate-Palmolive or any other multinational that you are aware of, okay, what are the benefits of adopting this standard? Okay, so then you should be able to name 3 fundamental accounting principles that underpin the financial reporting. Okay, that means by understanding this program, you will be able to know what accounting principle applies, so they relate to the accounting standards that I apply. For example, if I treat going concern is one of the accounting principles that we do. What is going concern? We assume that the company will be in business forever. Okay, that means the company is not going to foreclose, the company is not going to close. So based on that principle, accounting principle, which financial standards reporting rule is applicable? Okay, so you get an appreciation of some of the things that I'm talking about. So this is what our focus is on, participant engagement. Okay, so what is comparability? Is it a very important quality characteristics of financial statement? Yes or no? Okay, so then maybe after a particular module, we can look into the questions that are applicable to that particular module and look at some of the general knowledge questions that may be arising in your head, for example. And then you tell me, hey, Param, I don't understand this. How do I, you tell me IAS standard tells me to do this. How do I treat this? Okay, I look at I analyze my financial transactions, but I'm not able to find all the elements that are applicable. Does that mean that I can treat it differently? Okay, so these are some of the thought processes that should come into your head. Okay, and of course, there are, of course, application-based questions. Like example, if a company changes its depreciation method, how should this be accounted for under IAS 8, for example? What are the things that as an accountant you should do? Okay, so your boss say, hey, no, our depreciation expense is too low. We need to change the depreciation method, or we need to change the amount that we are calculating for depreciation. What does that happen when a requirement like this arises? You find that the figures have to change. Now, if the figures change, what do you do with the figures that were previously shown, which was calculated using a different depreciation method, for example? So how do I account for this? Okay, so these are the things that are the thought process that should come into your head when you look at module by module. Okay, so what are the key principles in IFRS 16 regarding leasee and lessor accounting? Okay, leasee is the person who leases the fixed asset. Lessor is the person who leases the fixed asset to the lessee. What are the principles there? Okay, how do I apply? Does lease accounting applicable to you? Do you lease vehicles? Okay, if I lease vehicles from a financial institution, how do I treat this? Do I treat it the balance sheet, or do I take it into the P&L straight away? So these are the things that are applicable, application-based questions that you should arise. There are more, but I'm just giving you some thoughts so that you understand it. Now, how should the entity recognize revenue and measure, for example, government grant? Okay, so the government has given me $1 million. How do I account for it in my balance sheet? when do I treat any expenses that I incur in relation to the grant that was provided to me by the government in my P&L? When can I recognize the expenses? How do I support those expenses, for example? Okay, and lastly, not any less important, okay, some opinion-based questions that we will bring about in the module, so that we want, apart from the theory that I may that I may inculcate into your head, we also want participation, so that at the end of the day, the 2 hours spent on one module is not gone to waste, so that you go back home and say, hey, yeah, okay, not that, oh, I'm going to get a video, I will listen to him again. Okay, that's not the objective. We want you to be able to engage with the trainer, in this case me, okay, so that you're able to understand how to do all of these things. Okay, so okay, in your opinion, what do you think about the IFRS adoption? Does it improve transparency, investor confidence? These are the questions you should ask yourself. Okay, when I apply standards to this, okay, does it actually improve my financial reporting? Why does it improve? So when you ask yourself this question, you then have an appreciation of the value of the application of the standard. Okay, should there be global convergence of financial reporting standards, or should countries maintain their own regulations? What do you think? Okay, we can have an open discussion. So very importantly, sometimes we may have problems because communication is not sometimes very easy. Okay, there could be some language issues that you may. Okay, bear in mind that in this program we are not worried. We are not testing your English. Okay, we are just giving you knowledge of accounting that you want to learn. Okay, what we are testing is at the end of the day. Okay, if you go back understanding what has been discussed, if you understand it in the language that you best understand it, then the objective of this course is achieved. So that is very critical for all of you. So this is one element that we've incorporated after much discussion with Mr. Rupak, like I mentioned to you. So that is, I think, reached the end of my presentation. I just hope I've not gone too fast. Now I'm open to question and answers. Anyone? I hope there was no interruption in my presentation.
Param sir, your detailed explanation on the syllabus content is really profound. We appreciate it. We are looking forward to the actual sessions, and we promise we will be well-engaged participants. I am with my colleague called Miss Horata, the girl with the cap. We both will be actively engaging ourselves. Both our objective is not just to get a certificate, it's not just to say another qualification added. We actually want to refresh our knowledge on these standards and the application on the real life work examples. How can I improve on my desk where I'm reporting? For example, Ms. Horata with me, she's actually a financial reporting specialist, and she's working as a financial reporting officer at where she's working. So we actually want to see what can we take home and how can we improve our reporting procedures that are currently in place. How can we refresh our knowledge on this IAS and IFRS and so on. So we will surely be, myself and Ms. Horata, we will surely be an engaging audience. So that's our objective. And we are very blessed to have you, Mr. Param. We can see your method of teaching. I can see how well organized you are. We promise you to be a better student, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, it's good to hear, because the more we engage with the participants, then it is also easier for us to actually improve the material and improve future courses. Yeah. So it's actually an element of feedback for us, so that we can understand exactly what you want to hear, not what I want to say. That's very key for me. Yeah. I can say it in so many different words, so it's very important that I say it and you go back understanding what I'm saying. So thank you for your feedback. Can I ask you what business is your company engaged in, if I may know?
Okay, so myself and Horata, we both are working for Nando's International. I'm sure you have Nando's restaurants in Malaysia, sir.
All right. I'm sorry for the people who are fasting. I mean, I love Nando's chicken.
Yeah. So we both are Nandos.
All right, all right. So if I do come to Africa, you'll give me free Nandos, yeah?
100%. We
Oh.
can parcel it from Africa to Malaysia, sir. Sir, you have a message from Hafiz. I think he has a problem in the volume on his side. He's asking, will this course cover the implementation of IAS and IFRS standards in financial statements, and what types of data sets will be used, hypothetical or real? Will we learn how to prepare these financial statements from scratch? So that's a question from Hafiz on the chat line, sir.
Okay. I just looked at my chat line, but okay. Basically, what we will do is we will of course use sample data, yeah, because I cannot embark on taking real life data and trying to show you how this is the transaction volume will not permit me to do that. It will take me 2 hours to do the explanation. So what we will do is we will, for example, let's say if you talk about the profit and balance sheet, we will talk about the content of the balance sheet. For example, what does the balance sheet consist of? Okay, what are the things that govern the balance sheet? Okay, how do we treat, for example, current assets, fixed assets, current liabilities, current long-term liabilities, shareholders' equity, or what are the things that bind them? So we will show you a format of a balance sheet, a standard format. Now, the content of the balance sheet will, of course, vary based on the business that you're doing. Okay, so some companies, for example, public listed companies, if you look at their balance sheet, their current assets can be broken up into so many items. It could be accounts receivable, it could be deposits, it could be other short-term deposits, okay, and long-term liabilities could be bonds, it could be borrowings and things like that. So the details of the content will be different. So all I'm trying to impress upon you is there is a format that needs to be shown. Okay, these are the minimum requirements that you need to show in a balance sheet, for example. Okay, so we will use sample data, okay, so that you will know how to. That means I am not going on to the point where I show you how to, whether it's a debit or a credit. I will show you there's current asset called accounts receivable. What is accounts receivable? Why is it classified as a current asset? Okay, I will not be involved. I will not be involving, okay, into the transactions that are applicable to your accounts receivable. Okay, that you should be able to know because you are now, I mean, you should know that if you are selling to your customer on credit, there is an accounts receivable. Okay, so you debit accounts receivable, which is your, and you credit whoever your the borrowings are. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to look at. Okay, so we will not analyze the transaction detail of the content of the balance sheet, similar to applicable to P&L. Okay, we will look at revenue. Okay, what is revenue? Okay, what does the P&L show you? The P&L shows me the profitability of the performance of the company itself. Okay, but what is the basic elements that cover the P&L? The P&L less, okay, what is it? Then we look at cost of goods sold. What does cost of goods sold mean? What are the items that go into the cost of goods sold? So apart from telling you the items that go into the cost of goods sold, and after that you deduct your revenue from your cost of goods sold, what is the next item you receive? You get your gross profit. Okay, then you take out your operating expenses. What are the different types of operating expenses? It can vary from company to company, but nonetheless, the format and the content or the minimum content that you should know in your financial statement will be shown. Okay, I hope I've addressed the question. Hello, Hafiz, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got your point. But the thing is, in CA and CMA, we have same type of courses like financial reporting and intermediate financial accounting. So, what will be the key difference between our CA and CMA course and this course? Can you please explain shortly?
Okay, I cannot tell you the difference between the two courses because I don't know the content of the course, but I can tell you what this course covers. Okay, the primary objective of this course is to enable people or persons who are involved in financial reporting. To enable you to do financial reporting, you must be focused on two things. You must be focused on regulatory compliance. That means the laws that are applicable to your country in which you operate in, and the standards that are applicable for you to report your financial statement. So we will explore all the financial reporting standards. Okay, like I told you, the laws vary. For example, in Malaysia, a listed company must submit its financial statement within 12 months, okay, or 18 months. So it can vary from country to country. That is the regulatory legal requirement. But as far as financial reporting standards, hang on a second, yeah, please for a while. Okay. So as far as the standards are concerned, hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, that's my explanation. So as far as this course is concerned, it's focused on reporting standards. Yeah, that means we look at all the various standards that you need to understand. Okay, some of it are very specialized standards. For example, IAS 41 is for agriculture. For example, how do I report agriculture? When do I recognize? How do I recognize my seedlings? When do I show it in my balance sheet? How do I recognize when my product, for example, rubber or palm oil or cocoa has now its 50% in completion? How do I recognize when I harvest, for example? These are very specific financial accounting standards. For your purposes, we will cover general accounting standards. Okay, so the standards that we talked about from module 1 to module 10 will cover all aspects of standard accountant should need to know about. Okay, so when you get involved in specialized financial accounting, you need to be exposed to some of the other standards, but we'll mention it, of course. Yeah. So the focus is on to see how the application of the international accounting standards or the international financial reporting standards apply to my financial statement. Okay, am I correctly doing it? Okay, am I following? Am I adhering? Because non-compliance to standards will raise a question with the auditors. So the objective is to be able to equip you with sufficient knowledge of the standards so that you can go and apply it to your own business organization. Okay. So this course is not intended to show you how to prepare a financial statement, but I will tell you what a financial statement looks like, including all the three elements of it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions? If you don't have any questions, or you can raise a question again, to the admin people, and they can forward it to me, and then I will address it when the course program starts. So that is something that the admin people will be able to advise you. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful explanations to all the delegates. I'm sure that the delegates could understand how the depth of course and how it will be helpful for their day-to-day activities in the financial and accounting parts, as well as their career growth in the global markets. So, dear delegates, we are at the end of our programs, and we have shared the flyer in the chat box that the class will be starting from 11th of the next month, as this is a Ramadan period, up to 31st. So, we will be starting our first session on 11th April, and during this period, you will be having a pre-course assignment and a couple of study notes for your self-study, so that you won't be idle, of course. And one humble submission to all of you: if you feel that the course is really worthy for the professionals, value for money, and as well as in terms of the financial career, it is required. You can share this flyer with your timeline in the Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram or any other network, so that the people beside you also can be aware about it, and they can also part of this course if they are interested. Okay. So with that note, we can. You want to tell anything? Anyone of you? Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you once again for staying with us all the way, and thank you, Mr. Param sir, for your wonderful delivery and insightful presentation for all of us.
Thank you, Rupak.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye for now.